All the broken promises.
Let me introduce you guys. I have Mr. Chris Hager and Mr. Dave Alford from the legendary Rough Cutt. So great to have you guys. It's an honor to have you. You just released a latest single and video for Black Rose. First video in over 30 years, man. That is just, it is great to have you guys still in the game and still putting out great music. How's it feel to be still at this game?
Well, first of all, thanks a lot, Scott. We appreciate being on the show, and it's
Absolute
good
pleasure
to talk to you. And it feels real good because we didn't do a lot. We didn't do anything as a band for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And for me, being like the founding member guy,
Yep.
having this man and me continue it on, because really it's kind of centered around the two of our writing. When we get together and write stuff, as you can tell when you hear, even though some of the older guys were involved, and Black Rose, one guy in a certain way, but when you hear it, it's weird. This is Rough Cutt.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it speaks for itself.
We like to think of ourselves as the core.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Definitely. I love the sound of this new single.
That's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. And and I think what Dave was alluding to is Stephen St. James, right? You guys have a long friendship with Stephen from Sarge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've done your homework.
Sunset history.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many connections that you guys make with that whole scene. I came up in that scene, and I followed it like it was a religion. That's why it's such an honor for me to have you guys here and see you guys working. Is so, man, it touches me. It's really great, man.
Hey, we know no other way to do it. It's always work. Even back then in the 80s on the strip, doing the strip was work.
Yeah.
You had to look at it.
It had its perks, but it was work.
It was work. It was. You had to be better because everyone else out there was trying to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, just going out at the time, everybody would staple their flyers. Every band had flyers, and they'd go along with their cars and their beat up cars. It was like wars. And so we'd go out with our staple of guns and da, 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 over everyone else, and they'd be about 10 thick after.
Yeah.
I can remember coming out of the Rainbow at 2:00 in the morning because Tony and them would kick you out exactly. So at 2:00 when the sheriffs came, them doors were locked.
Yep.
Okay. And you're out there. All it did was move from inside the club to the outside.
Yeah, it was the party after the party.
And you would just wade through flyers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, literally wade through.
Yeah, that was a really unique, part of time.
Yeah.
It's just, it's never going to be that way again.
Like that shirt you're wearing, man, that'll live forever, dude.
Oh yeah. And I know you guys were there listening to the demos for that record. That's incredible.
We were so fortunate to get to do that,
Mm-hmm.
Once Chris and Matt got in the band, that was when we did our first demos with him, and it was in the same studio that he recorded that record in.
They were basically done, and Ronnie just said, "Hey, we're just going to pick up a couple extra days here," and we moved our stuff in. And I always say this: everybody knows Ronnie is being like the quintessential rock singer, but what a lot of people don't know is that he was an amazing producer too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and man, and you guys were at the heart of that. He just championed you guys. I remember that back in the day. He has this band called Rough Cutt, and he loves this band. Enough for Wendy to manage you guys, which was just amazing. He really took you guys in, and it was so great to see. The first question I think everybody's going to have after listening to Black Rose, what can we expect with more music? Do you have more for us? How are you going to release it? Singles or an EP or a full length record? What are your plans for now?
It's going to be an EP. Okay. We're not going to try to do a full length record until we sign a deal. Right now, we're doing things on our own. Excuse me. And, we will release it this year. We just don't have an exact date, but we are well into it. Yeah. Chris has been working daily. I just came from the studio. Right. We're working constantly.
Yeah, luckily I've got a studio here, and we've got some rehearsal studios that we know the owners give us real good deals. So we're able to put out some quality stuff without having to spend a ton of money in a big studio. But, I think with regard to your question, we've already turned down some deals.
Yeah.
And just because we just didn't feel they were right for us. And we'd rather wait till it's right. And so we figured, the best way to do it is release a few singles and really pump the hell out of them, and people are going to get up and take notice. And so far, that's what's happened.
There will be a product probably before this year is up. Whether it be downloads or CDs or whatever. There's rumors flying around. We might be calling it unfinished business, but don't quote me on that.
Yep, absolutely.
But nevertheless, there'll be an EP, 3 or 4 song EP.
Man, that is good news. That is good. I'll take anything I can get from you guys. It's great.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just the one song is exciting, man. I listen to Black Rose a few times every day now, and
it's great.
It's great to hear you guys.
You can't ask for any more than that, because that means that it's doing what we wanted it to do, which is resonate with you. And
tell all your friends, subscribe to Rough Cutt's YouTube channel.
We'd appreciate
that.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
You just type in Rough Cutt Black Rose in your browser, and it'll come right up.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm trying to turn as many people onto that song as I can with that video. And speaking of that video, Priya Panda is the girl in the video. I know her from Diamonds. I looked familiar right away. How did you hook up with Priya, and does she make any appearance on other tracks?
Well, she's a friend of Jeff's, basically, our bass player.
Yep.
And he's the one that suggested her. And then when we saw her and all that, we said, yeah, she looks like she'd be great for the part. And
I think she fit perfect.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Her acting was superb.
Yep.
The looking around, the paranoia, the whole 9 yards. She really pulled it off.
Yeah.
I love the shots of the rear view mirror where it shows her eyes.
Yep.
Driving. That's great stuff.
It is. It's amazing. And she's great in it. And she's, of course, a beautiful girl. So, and that always helps. And speaking of Jeff's a friend of mine. I've had him on the show, and he's a wonderful dude. Of course, with Loyal Order and Brandon there. And I know he sings and plays bass there and writes. As far as the writing, I know you guys are the core of Rough Cutt. Did you keep it to you guys in the writing, or is it a collaborative thing with Jeff and maybe the other guys?
So far, it's just been us, because we had songs in the queue that we wrote that we wanted to get out there. In the future, I'm sure that Jeff will probably contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of writing with our singer right now. Too.
Yeah.
We're revamping some stuff. We're doing brand new stuff, but we're going to start out, like I said, with an EP. It'll be 3 to 5 songs. I don't know the exact number yet, but it will be out this year.
Yeah. And, Stephen is a really prolific writer in his own right.
Yeah.
As far as, writing vocals and harmonies and all that. And I remembered that from back in the day when we first got together. It was like we had chemistry right away. So when I brought him back in, it was like I brought, Dave came over and Dave was like, yeah.
I went out and checked him out. He was singing in a bar, and he didn't know I was coming either. I went out there by myself and sat back in the audience and watched how he handled the crowd. And when I walked up to him, he, of course, he was like, no way. And I asked him, because me and Chris had already discussed it, and he had to sell me on it. That's why I went to do it that way. And he, to me and Chris, is a breath. It's the same core. It's the same sound, but with a twist. Because he brings something different to the table than our previous singer. Our previous singer is one of the greatest singers in the world, but he's limited to kind of his overtones he can do and stuff, Stephen, I've heard him sing anything from Motown to, he can sound like just about anybody.
He's super versatile, yeah.
And it's opened big doors for him and I.
It really has. It's, as far as writing and all that, it really has opened doors for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine so. It's got to be a lot easier writing for somebody that versatile. With his input, and I think what is really important with a singer, because he's the one singing the words. He's got to, for him to feel it, he's got to relate with it on some level.
He fit right in with the old stuff too.
Yeah,
he picked it up. He's kind of done it his own way, but it's still the right way. I was that was the only thing I worried about any at all. And come to find out, like one of the songs on the second record, he used to do with Chris. It was just called something else.
That's right. He and I actually wrote it, and then we revamped it in Rough Cutt.
Right.
And it was
on
the
second
record. Yeah.
You want to be a star.
Yeah.
So the thing is with him, he brings that energy because it's new, it's fresh.
Right.
So when we're writing, that's like there's no limit now because he can do just about anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's way cool. We mentioned the second record, which is probably my favorite Rough Cutt stuff. I love that record. I see a huge difference between the first and second record. What was the biggest?
Totally.
Yeah, it really is different. They're both great in their own way. They're just different records. What was the biggest reason for that shift?
It wasn't the producers. It wasn't. Even if Tom would have done the second record instead of Jack Douglas, it was our writing. The songs that we were writing, we leaned more in a bluesy direction and some stuff. We're always been known for ballads. So, of course, The Night Cries Out for You, which is, Chris here. And they were going to sound different no matter who produced it.
Yeah.
And that's the whole theory behind Rough Cutt. It's a difference in each record to record, just like Black Rose now. It still sounds like the old band, but it's different.
Yeah. Yeah. The second record, we were kind of going for maybe a little bit more of commercial of the sound as well.
Right.
And we thought, let's do some stuff that's a little more mainstream, along with
pop. We were dabbling a little bit with pop.
Yeah, that's right. So we were experimenting basically, and Dave's right. I mean, the producers, while they do matter, it's like it's the songs that make the biggest difference.
Yeah. Now you had, of course, Tom Allen, known for his Judas Priest work, and Jack Douglas, Aerosmith, and these guys, so many others. But yeah, I mean, just top-notch producers.
Yeah.
What was the difference working with them? What was the biggest difference between those two?
Well, there is a big difference.
Yeah, there is. Tom was really a more of a metal producer. Now he engineered the first Black Sabbath records, for crying out loud.
With Martin Birch.
He engineered the first Def Leppard. And then of course he did all the Judas Priest up to a certain point.
Started with British Steel.
And he had just done Defenders of the Faith, which was one of our favorite records. And so he was really, and we loved that sound. We loved the guitars. We loved the production. And to us, it fit with what we were doing. Like if you listen to Black Widow and you listen to the mix on that, it's like, wow, it's creepy, in a cool way. Jack was a little bit more of a sort of commercial, rounded,
melodic. He was much more into melody. Our singer Paul, he said the same thing. He enjoyed the second record working with Jack because he was more into melody. Tom was, like Chris said, he was a rock producer. I mean, this guy, he was used to Tony Iommi and Glenn and all them, all this intense guitar stuff. And that's what at first we wanted Ted Templeman, but because of Van Halen, and he's a
busy guy.
He's the one that signed us.
That's right. He was a busy guy. He signed us, and we made the mistake of waiting too long.
A whole year.
And that set us back because we should have been on it right away. Right. And one thing you don't want to do is wait around
and miss your window.
Yeah. And that's and especially at that time when people are coming from all over the country, all over the world to get to LA to do what you guys are doing. So there was a lot of bands happening at that time in that area.
Exactly.
You mentioned Black Widow. And I notice on the writing credits for Black Widow and Dreamin' Again, I believe, Wendy Dio has a writing credit. Mm-hmm. How did she contribute to those songs?
Just a couple of lyrics.
Okay.
Is all. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was cool because I don't think of Wendy Dio as a musician or a writer.
It's on Taker.
Yes.
And that was more he helped with the structure, with the arrangement a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you remember how fast Craig had wrote the riff.
Yeah.
It wasn't dun 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 dun. It was dun 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 dun. It was really fast. Yeah. And Ronnie changed all of that.
Yeah, he slowed it down. So that was amazing working with him on that stuff.
Yeah, when we did those demos that we were just talking about with you, with Ronnie, that was some of the best time in the studio that I ever had. Yeah. When we was working with Ronnie and Angelo, it was really good stuff.
Here we were in Sound City, right?
Yeah.
When
they just finished Holy Diver, so we came in with the attitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were, we were stoked and young and ready to go, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, what an exciting time it was for everybody, but for you guys working with such a legend and working in such a legendary studio. Just amazing.
Yeah, walking through there and just looking at just gold and platinum records all the way down the hall.
Yeah.
Then we go to our attorneys and see even more.
Yeah, that's way cool. Now, who produces? Are you self-producing this record?
Yes. Yeah. Well, Chris and I and Rob Ziemba. Yeah. We got three of us that are working on it. Myself, Chris, and Robert Ziemba. We call him Porno Bob, but he's working on it pretty good too.
Cool. I know you guys were a part of, Dio did the Hearing Aid sessions, the Stars sessions, wrote that song, had all those guys.
That song. Yeah.
Man, just an amazing time. And I know, I've done some interviews with guys that were at that session, and nobody has ever told me that they had a bad time. What's your take on that day?
What? I'm sorry, say again.
What's your thoughts on that day? What was your take on that day? How was that for you?
It was the day that I saw Ronnie Dio turn into a conductor.
Yeah.
Because when every single one of us was out there in that room on the choir bleachers,
yep.
Okay, there was 40, 50 people out there.
Yeah.
And he had to find ways to group everybody by voices.
Yeah.
And he did such a good job. I mean, when you hear the record, listen, there wasn't mics on everybody.
No.
It was 421s strategically placed, okay, in the room. And him and Angelo did all of that.
Yeah.
And when I heard that the vocals come back, I was like, no way. It was huge.
Which again attests to his production skills.
Yes.
And all of that. But for me, that's a day I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Because just for one reason, you had guys like Rob Alford and Blue Oyster Cult guys, were there.
Mark Stein from the Vanilla Fudge was in there. Carmine was in there.
Yeah, there were some cats that I had never met that I was, a fan.
Ted Nugent was in there.
Yeah. And it was a real thrill hanging out, hanging out with us, Brad Gillis. Yeah, Eric Bloom, it's like, and just there was really no ego. Everybody was real good. Tate was there.
Yeah, it was really
and
fun.
everybody was just cool.
George.
The ego was just, we just checked it at the door, and everybody was
had
cool.
a fun time.
Yeah. And that's the story I hear from just about everybody I've talked to at that session. Everybody had a great day. And you would think you got huge egos there that have a reputation for ego.
Yeah.
Rough
Cutt does that song at the end of our set.
Oh, really?
Stars. Yeah.
Man, I love that.
Kind of eat it up. We found.
Man, it is. Oh God, I want to ask you about touring when we close out, but I would love to see that, man. What's the biggest difference between Rough Cutt in '85 and Rough Cutt now?
Versatility.
Aside from band members, obviously.
Well, I mean, obviously, we're more mature as writers and players.
Right.
Obviously, we've got a different lineup now.
I don't go off half cocked like I used to.
Yeah, I mean, when we write, we're writing more cohesively now. Yeah. It's like, it's before. There was a lot of times where there were some songs were sort of a compromise. Because they had 5 strong-willed guys,
right? And
now we're more about, hey, we don't care who writes what. We're more looking at what the song is, and we're looking to write hit songs.
Yeah,
I
think Black Rose. With every time I look, it's gaining more traction, and I don't see any signs of it slowing down. So we're in the studio getting ready to drop another one on you.
Beautiful. Man, that's great news. Great news. Now you got together with all the original guys and, after, the breakup in 86, early 87, somewhere in there.
87.
Yeah. All right. 2002, you did a one-off show. And then 2016, you got together and did the Monsters of Rock in 2018. For this current material, did you approach any of the other original guys to do this?
This particular song and one other song, actually 2 other songs.
Yeah, we had started writing with them. Yeah, we did.
Okay.
So we were still band with them when we started writing this stuff.
Yeah.
Now that's a few of the songs. We've got other stuff that we've since then. That we've done.
Right. Well, basically, to me, Between the Lines is all us now because there is no.
We changed it to the point where it's doesn't sound.
Yeah, but to answer your question, right when it was over, and then we got back together like Monsters of Rock and stuff. Chris and I and our bass player Matt, we go over to Matt's studio, and we would into Chris's studio here, and we were putting a lot of songs together on the assumption that we were going to go out and play with the original lineup again, and we won't get into that, but that's
we did some of that, and by the way, Monsters of Rock is what brought us back together,
right?
Because they pay well, and we decided that it was worth it. And then at that point, we had already rehearsed,
right,
and put a lot of time and energy into getting back to where we were,
right.
And we thought, well, hey, let's go out and do some other shows, and we did that. We did that, and then some things went down that
it was just what do you call schedule
different
things for scheduling.
People had different purposes and different priorities, and so that's what happened basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult, even when you're 21, to get 5 21-year-old guys who are hungry for it to go in the same direction. When you're a little bit older, it's even more difficult because now you have all kinds of responsibility.
Sure.
That common denominator for us was, I'm the only one that's not from California. Okay, I mean, all these guys lived in San Diego, and even Paul, even though he's from Ohio, came out here as a young boy with his mom. Okay. Me, I was already, but when we got signed, I was already over 30. Okay. I was 31, I think, or 32. But we get a worldwide record deal. And what kept all of that in focus, it's like Chris said, 5 very strong, I'll just say it, pig-headed guys that could bump easy. Okay. And what happened was I brought Ronnie Dio into the scene. I knew him from Vinny, and when he was in Sabbath, and when he gave me his number, moved out here. I stayed in touch with Ronnie. By the time I had all these guys together, he was the common denominator that could take 5 very strong guys and keep them going in the same direction.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, it's to me, there's no other way. Without him, we'd have killed each other.
Yeah, look at that. Now we have, Ronnie James Dio, the legendary voice. We have Ronnie James Dio, the great producer, and now we have Ronnie James Dio, the diplomat, the the glue that holds bands together.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was there anything he couldn't do? Just a blessing to this world he was. But I look back and I see these bands, multi-platinum status, and your Rats, which both of you were a part of at one time, right?
Right.
Dokken, Motley Crue, multi-platinum status, and what do you think it was that held Rough Cutt back? Was that delay, not getting in there in your
way? I alluded to it before, and it was that what happened basically is we got orphaned because we waited so long. See, what usually happens with, you'll get an A&R person that'll go out and discover you, sign you, and then they're real hot for you to do well because it looks good on them and it advances their career.
And in our case, it wound up being the in-house producer of the label, bigger than an A&R person, saw us and went, whoa, and signed us to Warner Bros.
Yeah.
So they assigned us an A&R person from the A&R department. Yeah. And because we sat there and waited too long, because we were waiting on Ted. Okay.
Yeah.
And because we waited, we missed our window. Hell, before we even recorded, our A&R guy had already left the label and moved on to some other place.
Yeah.
Interscope.
Yeah. And it's ironic because right when we were starting to get, in pre-production for the record, you're starting to hear Cyndi Lauper and all this stuff.
Right.
MTV was changing. It was Philip Bailey and Lionel Richie.
Kind of
no more. Rock,
it did this flip flop.
Yeah.
And then it went back again later. But
Headbangers Ball.
Yeah. And so it's again, timing is
everything. We literally missed our window.
So we would pull in, because we toured, prolifically. I mean, we were out doing arenas with Ronnie and playing 4 or 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
And
we had Paul Sortino on vocals, man. I'm telling you, we missed our window.
Well, we'd pull up at an arena and play in front of 20,000 people. And they'd go to the record store to get our record.
And it sold out.
And maybe there was 1 or 2 records and they were gone. And, I can only remember there was a few cities that we went to where they had a guy that was really on the ball. You remember Al?
Yeah, Al. Yeah, that was
that really did what he was supposed to do, which was take us out to the radio stations, make sure that we had the merch in the stores.
Yep.
And that didn't happen enough.
Yeah.
And so.
But that's because we waited too long. Like I said, we lost an A&R guy. The next guy we got was like, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't in. He'd already turned the page. To them, Rough Cutt was old news. We've been saying for a year already.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That's a bummer because it was 2 really, really, really good records. And I truly believe that if Dreamin' Again would have hit the radio, or A Piece of My Heart would have hit the radio at the same time that Quiet Riot and Rat and all, Motley's first record, I mean, all at the same way that with Paul's voice too, that we would have been the guys.
Yeah, those would have been hit records if they would have been handled properly. And
again, the timing.
The timing. So on one hand, we were super fortunate,
right?
But on the other hand, there's always 2 sides to every story, and
But we were fortunate because of the Dio family.
Man. We got to do stuff that bands that were way ahead of us as far as record sales. I mean, before we were even signed, we were doing Europe. We were playing in London. We did Rock Palace before we were even signed. And
awesome.
And 9 months after we hooked up and became a band with the current lineup, we did get signed.
She's got us signed to, like I said, worldwide deal with Warner Brothers. And it ultimately came down to us making the mistake of waiting for Ted.
Yeah.
That's really, there's nothing else to say.
Yeah.
We were waiting for Ted and we waited too long.
Okay. Now, if you could go back, you would have picked up with Tom.
We had a whole list.
Yeah, we did have a list
of producers, and I mean, it's just Van Halen was so hot at the time that everybody is like, Ted, we gotta have Ted.
Yeah.
Well, he produced my favorite, probably
doing his solo stuff, and of course Ted produced that.
And he's like the guy with the golden hand, Madonna. So we wanted to have Ted, and my bad. The band's bad. We waited too long.
Well, that's one of those things you live and learn.
That's one of them life's learning sessions.
I can see that though, because especially back then, because probably if I was to say my favorite record of all time is the first Montrose record. That is a Ted Templeman record. Oh my God.
Yeah, Bad Motor Scooter.
it hangs on my wall here. I don't know if you can see it, but you know, it's
well, that is a magical record, man. That
is.
Record, there's just chemistry in that record, you know.
And you know, the songs are great, but the production, you know, the channels changing and the ear to ear thing, it's masterful. And that's Ted Templeman. And then, you know, he's got Van Halen going on. I totally get why you would wait for that guy, because he's magical, and he still is. But you know, that's one of those things, like I say, live and learn. Unfortunate, but now you guys, like you mentioned all those shows. Is there any particular gig that stands out to you? You know, for one reason or another.
Yeah,
the festivals that we got to do.
Well,
we never made it to Castle Donington, but we're not done yet.
Yeah,
well, I mean, you know, I'd say LA Forum was one of them.
Yeah.
And for me,
that was our first time in an arena.
Philadelphia Spectrum was a big one for me, because it was a place that I knew of, and that I never thought in a million years I'd be playing at.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you're a rock and roll guy in a band that got signed. You haven't released your record yet. They were actually mixing the first record, and Ronnie came back to LA to end the tour. The last show of The Last in Line.
Right.
And Dokken was on the bill. Well, we got in the middle. You had the Dokken, then you had Rough Cutt, and then you had the Dio. Well, anyway, this is our very first time to ever play an arena, and it's in the Forum, and by the time we hit the stage, it was sold out. There wasn't a seat left.
Unbelievable.
It was insane.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that one moment when they throw the light switch.
Oh yeah,
and you hear, forget about it.
When you're, I mean, for me, I was 27 or 28, and it was like, it's like, you know, I was still a kid, and it's just like there's nothing. It's like a dream come true,
right?
You know,
that's so great that you guys got to do that and got that experience doing that.
But we're not done yet.
Absolutely, man. This is just a start. You know.
Not to mention Japan. We went there. We were
the Super Rock Festival.
We did Super Rock over there, which was really amazing.
We headlined a tour in Japan too, where we did all the cities.
The halls.
Yeah, we did Nagoya, Osaka,
right.
One
or two others.
Tokyo, and somewhere else. I can't remember.
So, of course, you get treated like kings over there. So
on our live record, if you look on the back of the live record. Mm-hmm. And you see all them seats going down to the stage, and it's me and Matt standing on the stage doing sound check. That's Budokan. Okay.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's the crowd.
It's you know, it's empty. You can see the whole place is empty. We're doing sound check, but that's where it was, and I think that's in Nagoya, wasn't it?
I can't
remember the name of it.
Man.
But unbelievable shows we did. You know, lots of good times. We love coming to Chicago too.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys.
And more, you know.
Yeah, you got the songs there. You got the old songs. You got some new songs that you can play. You got your legends, you guys.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely, man. And it is an honor to have you guys.
Because of people like you, man.
Right.
I appreciate that, man. And it's you've given so many people so much happiness with what you guys do, and I can't thank you enough, man.
Well, that's what it's about. Really.
It's way cool. Hey, it's been awesome. Let's do this again when you get an EP out or something, or you got a tour plan. I'll talk to you again, and I can't wait to drop by Chicago, man, or anywhere close. I'm willing to travel.
You know, we'll make sure that you know. When we're coming out that way.
Oh, this was great talking to you.
It's awesome, man, and I so appreciate it. You guys are fantastic, man.
Thank you, Scott. Really appreciate you having us on the show, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's right.
Anytime, man. You guys the door is open.
Yeah, just let us know. We'll be happy to come on anytime, bro.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right.
Good luck to you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks so much, brother.
Take care, bud.
All right.